My Hero Ultra Rumble is an upcoming free-to-play Battle Royale coming out in 2022 for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. The closed beta just ended, and this was actually my second time playing the game. The first one was during a Japan-only beta, which was good enough to get an idea of how the whole thing works, but playing on Japanese servers under extreme lag made it hard to properly judge a lot of aspects about this game. A lot has changed between the two betas, but one thing has remained consistent. This game is going to be a lot of fun. I think Bandai and Viking have a really great concept on their hands that is a few adjustments away from being a really great game. But even if shipped as it is right now with a solid plan for content updates, it would already be an absolute blast. This is a smaller Battle Royale type game than what we're used to, with only a total of 24 players dropping into a map split into teams of 3. The map is smaller than usual too, which means that even though the player count is lower, you're never too far from the action. And you have a roster of characters, each one with very unique abilities, and since you're making teams of 3, that makes for a great number of combinations and team synergy. The movement feels great, characters can climb any platform, some even have movement abilities, including using their own attacks to move around like Spider-Man. And all of this feels really good. The gacha pools seem to be only cosmetic, and I sure hope it stays that way. The game also doesn't seem to have any progression on your account level. A level 30 All Might is just as strong as an All Might from someone who just started playing. They might just have a different skin and of course more experience. The gacha system in both betas was extremely generous. In just 2 days I got everything the store had to offer, and I think there is no way this is how the final game is going to be. This is way too good. So we can't properly judge how the gacha system will work in the final game because for sure this is a placeholder. The skins are awesome. You can definitely see a lot of the work they did with character customization in One's Justice paying off right here, as a lot of the color variations seem to come straight from One's Justice. There is a rank leaderboard if progression is a big deal for you, and theoretically you're getting matched with players of the same level of experience. But since this is a beta, it's also the best time to provide feedback on what could be improved. So now that I've praised the game enough, it's time to focus on the negatives. And by the way, if there's anything I don't mention throughout this video that you think should be improved, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. Bandai usually watches these types of videos, so let's make this comment section a hub for feedback. Maybe you have something that I missed. Of course, if your complaint is, you should nerf All Might. I mean, yeah, All Might was way too powerful in this beta, but the game will have constant balance patches for sure. In the Japanese beta, Mount Lady was the problem, and she got nerfed really hard in this one. Probably overcorrected, to be honest. But let's get to it, and don't forget to leave your notes down below. The number one thing that I think they should improve before the final game comes out is aiming. The way it is right now, I think it will be completely fine on PC, but console aiming is a bit tougher to develop. It's an art that has been refined by a lot of first and third person shooters since Halo, and we don't see any of that work present in this game. Aiming is completely manual, which doesn't feel great on a controller. There's no smoothing, acceleration, it's just super raw, so it doesn't feel great. Back in the Japanese beta, you also had the option to turn on aim assist. That too was not a great solution though. The aim assist was way too aggressive. It would snap onto the character you were aiming at, rendering you unable to properly lead shots in case the opponent was moving. It felt terrible. In this beta, you can still turn on aim assist, it just doesn't work. Having this option on or off made no difference whatsoever. They either toned it down way too much to the point that I can't feel the difference anymore, or it's just bugged and it doesn't work in this beta. A lot of characters require precise aiming in this game, and if the aiming is bad, those characters are just not getting picked. And that's a bummer because those characters are really fun to play. Viking needs to look at games like Destiny and Fortnite, first and third person shooters that do this really well, to figure out how aiming should work. There are all of these sensitivity sliders in the options menu, which is great, but on console, that's just not enough. Please do better, you are so close. Next, I think the HUD could use some improvements. The first one is text pop-ups. Every time a team is eliminated, a big text pops in the middle of the screen saying how many teams remain. I think that, first of all, this message is completely unnecessary. There's a big number on the top left saying how many teams and how many players are remaining. We just don't need this text pop-up. But if you want to have text pop-ups in your game, then you can have them, just not in the center of the screen. Either put them at the top or at the bottom, because it straight up gets in the way if you happen to be fighting when a team is eliminated. It is dead center, right where your aiming reticle is. It will screw up a lot of your shots. This game is already very confusing sometimes, with how big attacks can be, how many explosions and particle effects are on screen. If you add the text on top of it, it becomes very easy to lose your opponent. Another change I would like to see is on the bottom right, your abilities. I think it should be easier to see if an ability is on cooldown or not. I mean, if you're looking at it, it's obvious. You can see that you have 0 stocks of that ability, there's a bar charging up, so it's obvious, right? But in the middle of battle, you're paying attention to 1,000 other things, and most of them are happening in the center of the screen. It has to be obvious whether or not an ability is on cooldown at a glance. So maybe making the whole ability go black and white is a solution, instead of that slight red overlay that you have right now. Whatever solution it is, I have to know whether the ability is on cooldown or not just by seeing it from the corner of my eye. Finally, and maybe this isn't exactly about the HUD, but I didn't know where else to put it, I'd like to level up in an easier way. A way that doesn't require as much inventory management. There are a bunch of actions that prevent you from leveling up, actually. You can't level up while running, for example, or rather, if you're sprinting, you gotta stop before you level up. You can move and navigate the menu, but for some reason, if you're coming from a sprint, you gotta stop sprinting first. And also, if you jump off a cliff, you can't level up while falling. I want to spend as little time as possible in these menus and more time playing the game, so to me, these restrictions don't make a lot of sense. On top of that, it'd be cool if there was a faster way to use level up cards other than just selecting the card and then pressing down to the ability you want to level up. What if instead we could just click the level up card and then press the ability button to automatically level up the ability we want? We hit R2, R1, or L1, giving you a shortcut that would make it so much faster to level up. It would probably even allow you to do so in the middle of battle in case you get jumped while looting. It's a small thing, but I think the menu navigation makes you stop for too long in a game that can move very fast. Last but not least, let's talk about the overall structure, content updates, and a few other very core things that I think could be improved. First of all, I said this during the Japanese beta, but this game needs more stages. Even after playing it for a limited time like this, I think everyone can now see how old this map is going to get over time. So I'm very curious as to what their update plans are for this game. I think new characters are a given. They're gonna release more characters over time. Nothing's been confirmed so far, obviously, but the game seems very built to be expanded with new characters. New maps, however, I'm not sure about it, but I really do think it's necessary, otherwise it's gonna get very stale. With the way this stage is built, it doesn't even need to be a whole new stage, but a new area, kinda like Fortnite. It's the same map, but they completely remove one area and replace it with something else after a while. I don't know if that's easier or harder to do, honestly, but whatever the case, I hope new stages are in their content update plans. Also, I don't think I ever want to play this game by myself. And if that's the case, then I'm only playing when my friends are available. Since it's teams of 3, the chances of getting someone who goes completely off the rails from the start is incredibly high, and then you're stuck with a team of 2 for the rest of the game. Now, creating different playlists for different team sizes is something that big Battle Royale games can do because they've got a ton of players, so no game mode is ever truly dead. But with this, it might be hard to create too many playlists. However, I would like to see at least duos. 24 players split into 12 teams of 2. If all I'm getting is one random teammate, then I might play this by myself. I think too many characters are built for being in a team to make solo games a viable thing. In this beta, for instance, if solo was a possibility, it would just be 24 All Mights dropping into the stage. But I think duos could work really well. The game has voice chat, so you could team coordinate, but the voice chat is also off by default, so most players won't even see that option. Especially the ones who have no idea how this game works, which are probably the ones that would benefit the most from voice chat. But those are pretty much the things that I would change about it. I did find an annoying bug as well. If you join a game with a full party, everything works great. The game ends, you return to lobby and you can queue again. But if you're in a party with only 2 people, once the game ends, it undoes the party. So we have to go through invites again before we can play. This doesn't seem intentional, so please fix. Also, the game has a separate friends list. It has in-game friends and PSN friends. Does this mean crossplay? It sure seems built for crossplay. I hope that is the case. Fingers crossed. Play. That's my feedback, but overall, really great job with this. The online worked flawlessly. I didn't feel much lag at all. Especially when the European servers opened up. Viking remains somehow to be the only anime game developer who knows how to make good netcode. I had so much fun, and I cannot wait for the full release. But if you have any other things you'd like to see in the game, let them know in the comments. Your feedback is just as important as mine. And as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku, and I'll see you next time. Bye!